Oh, we're in game. We're in game. Okay, over to you, Mitch and Tom.
Sue trying to take all of the jobs, it seems. Like, coming in for our casting as well. She was like, they love Split, but I love it more. Just take it over.
Yeah, we've already had John taken down, one of the key players for NIP on this attack side. I mean, it's going to be a speed round if we've ever seen one. Fnatic over on this defense, starting it out on Split, and you can see there's 2 players. There's a Poison Orb down as well, so they've got a decent bit of slowing if NIP decide to blitz through onto the A site. But Heaven is wide open for the taking. There's the flash, information going their way. Now it's time to win those duels, and Magnum's in trouble. He's gone down, but these players are tagged up, and Boaster's taking advantage for 2. That's the man advantage still to play with for Fnatic. Well, that's not quite the TP he was looking for, but it's good because BNJ can then plant the spike, and maybe he'll go up there after. Probably not, hopefully not, because Fnatic are already waiting, and Mystic's picked off his teammate. Oh, well, good night.
It's not the round for Shadow Steps. It's not the round.
No, it hasn't quite done him any favors on that one. There's Fearoth getting the defuse. Well, maybe not. There's Hyber getting the defuse. Both of those players topping out the scoreboard overall in the last map. They lost 13-7, and yet these super subs. We'll see if that's gonna be the same here on Split. It certainly needs to be, because this is comfort ground for NIP.
Yeah, one of the things that is going to be interesting, I will say it's not necessarily an agent that I think that, but it's something I'll definitely keep an eye on, because the composition's changed a little bit, maybe just to give Boaster a little bit more space to almost take those aggressive fights, but more so, I think it could also get them that extra information so that Fearoth can actually place his utility a little bit better at times.
Well, with that first round under their belt, Fnatic now face off against
a force.
And NIP have quickly taken it into Heaven. That is Fnatic caught off guard again. Mystic's going to have to... Oh, wow. That paranoia was perfect, and it even just confirms that he's here. They blitz in from all angles and take him down. Another fantastic execute from NIP. The way these guys apply pressure, you can see that Fnatic just cannot keep up with this pace.
Remaining.
Jandy already looking like he's put the nail in the coffin. It's left all onto Boaster. 1 versus 4, and well, not really getting the luck that he was probably hoping for, spamming in that smoke. This is the one thing I will say you have to love watching about NIP. Fearless, investing straight back into the round, knowing that they can try and put the pressure straight back onto Fnatic, especially playing on that attacking side. Making sure you get off to a strong start is always going to be important, building up that economy. And oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. I thought he was going to get knifed. Instead, he's just kind of sat on his head.
It's a force by round 2 that has found a lot of success. And, well, I mean, that spells exactly the sort of... the walls just going up again and again. Yeah, it spells a big problem for Fnatic. If they're going to be caught off like that round...
Although I think NIP at times can be quite readable, I don't think it's necessarily something Fnatic are going to be used to playing. Like you think of the likes of FPX, this slow, defaulty style of play, working things out with different pieces of information, slowly picking you apart, and NIP are just like, let's go.
There's very few teams that will play the game the way NIP just did in that round, especially with the pace that they've come in. And I don't know if they would have done that had the previous map had seen less success from those kind of plays. And I think in EMEA, I think most teams that play like that are pretty bad. So you're not going to be in a... if they're blitzing you down like that in a force buy, they're not going to have the success. But these NIP guys are unbelievable. I mean, just the entry ability of Shanji and John alone blows my mind. Coming to round number 3, as you can see, Fnatic aren't going to have the same force buy. It's just pistols. And they've successfully gambled on the right side here for NIP. Moving into the A side, it's wide open, Boaster's down, and now they can just play ranged duels.
Yeah, and the thing for Fnatic here is almost, do you even want to try and give these players the chance to actually farm up their ultimate orb, or if you want to try and die to the spike? Like, you can try and hold them in on the way out, make some cash of your own, maybe get rid of some of the weaponry, but if you're just facing into them, this is just farming for the side of NIP, and that just looked a little disjointed. If you're going to invest that paranoia...
Kills picked up by Besney and by BNJ. So, yeah, okay, you're Cypher and you're Omen. That's fine.
Yeah.
Give them the ult orbs, because you've actually got Shanji just 2 away from his ultimate. He's currently sitting 5 kills and 1 death. And then you look at Kawazin. He's also in the same position, about to have his ulti online. And
yeah, and then there's not going to be a change. Straight away, paranoia are up so that they can take control in towards their heaven. Magnum just spams through, though, and already finds the opener. Shanji quick up front and almost manages to take the pick, but it's a slaughter up top, leaving just 1 man standing. Now, BNJ, he's been good at clutches. He's He's been pretty good, Mitch, but it's not happening.
No. You know, this is a round I can 100% get behind for NIP. I think that play clearly didn't work, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't take a genius to say that, but the reality is they've had success from these blitz plays so often that, yeah, you just throw those.
You sure we don't need to tell us right?
Try to close in. Maybe we do, actually. Yeah, we could probably break it down a little bit. You know, what I will say, though, is Magnum Snakebite, fantastic. He's ready for that blitz play to come through, whether it was going to be the dash out of John, whether it was Blast Pack play coming out of Shanji. It didn't matter. That Snakebite was going to catch them. He sprays down afterwards, and even if the player comes through, he's going to get tagged down by the wall. It's an easy kill with so many players up in heaven. It was a well-handled round, but that was a blitz that Fnatic were ready for. And we've already seen what happens when they're not ready for them. So this is going to have to be high alert from this point forward, because remember, they've only dealt with the bonus round at this point.
I feel like BNJ is basically just spending his time trying his best to bait them into swinging him, and the rest of the team, well, we got the spike. Like, we're not going to move, no reason to do anything. Calm and collected from Fnatic, and it's a Prime Gaming flawless right back, so there you go. We expect to see the Ninjas actually look to break back. They're going to have the rifles very close to a couple of fairly impactful ults on their side as well. And for Fnatic, okay, you've got yourself the Seekers already available, and potentially a Viper's Pit if they could somehow get an orb, but realistically, I'm much more looking at the likes of the Res and the Showstopper, which will soon be coming up for NIP. And they still got service. You gonna let that one sit?
I think so. Let it breathe.
Mystic in a very aggressive position. They did not expect it to be here. I don't know what the exit strategy was, though. It's just a very one-and-done position for him, which, okay, it might catch them off guard. And as I said, they've got the res, so it doesn't really play much in this round whatsoever. And for the remainder, you can already see Hyber still trying to be a little bit more aggressive, and Fearoth as well, just attempting to slow them down. But, well, he's going to have to do an awful lot. It does seem, however, that they've got a good read, because Boaster's already rotating into position.
Big problem, though. There's that other ultimate we mentioned, and it's looking for some players. Oh, he's found them as well. Goodbye, Fearoth. And maybe the spray down. Sure, Shanji doesn't get it, but his teammates converted. The site's theirs, and it looks like the round might be 1v4 now with just Boaster left alive, and he loses his head quite quickly. Stages of the defense.
Yeah, and now they have all of the ultimates as well, so yes. it likely will swing back in their favor. I think the main problem I have is it almost seemed like a misread on the ultimates that were on the other side. It's worthless.
Yeah, for sure, and I think, you know, in a situation like that, I'm expecting him to almost paranoia, but for him to do that, he needs to have a player peeking out from vents. Yeah. He needs to have a player coming out from heaven, and Hyber was stuck behind the smoke. He wasn't able to assist, so really, it was good counter by NIP as well to make sure those angles were constantly cut off. Now, this time, smoke goes down, same place, but NIP are going to play right through it. They want to try to take this control. Reactions there from Fearoth to put the slow on the floor, but that doesn't keep NIP back. Not for long anyways. The nade, it's not going to come through. In fact, they're just allowing these guys to make their way forward, and then Hyber pops the showstopper. A double kill for that man. That leaves BNJ all alone. And he is found and taken down. Fnatic with a third. That's a round they needed.
Set up over on B, so I wouldn't be overly surprised. He's actually fake TP'd to bait them into thinking that he's gone aggressive. That's Mystic over on the B side, so almost faking that information. And in fact, for now at least, we're going to see them doubling back to try and put some pressure on aim. Maybe because they know they've lost that control, or it could just be a coincidence.
Yeah, you never know. But what I do know is Hyber's about to take a fight. He's up above in heaven, and he's got a teammate, Boaster, covering the cross. And he's playing reactive on the back of Boaster's flash once he sees them come across. There's the flash, it pops, nade going down, and there's a player coming up close to him, but after seeing that nade, they've decided to back on off. Moving to the A site through main, walling off heaven. That's control going their way. John taking a bit of a risk going back out, but Hyber narrowly misses the shot, keeping NIP into a 5v5. Oh, Mystic! He's been caught. Great game sense from BNJ.
Yeah, he tries to TP back, and it just doesn't work out. They've still got to try and clear this man, and again, that's just so difficult. BNJ just a rock at the back of the site, and well, the problem now is they've had to invest this res, and they still haven't got rid of him. He's even just going to maneuver elsewhere, and they haven't cleared John. He just sits in the corner, leaving Fearoth all alone to try and clutch it once again, and BNJ even gets that final kill. He is so difficult.
Yeah, again and again, BNJ just seems to make the impossible happen. I don't know how this guy is able to keep control. Look at the previous map, A site on the back side. He had so many clutches there. This time around, he's holding down their back, then TPing screens, and finishing off the round by trading out Fearoth. Perfectly off each other in these rounds. Like you said, BNJ TPs into screens, and immediately John repositions based on that. It is split-second decision-making that is ultimately showing to be a well-oiled, maybe Puggy machine when we came into the tournament, but I doubt that even now. This is clean gameplay. And when you look at Fnatic, the way that you want to beat a style like NIP is with hard structure, and unfortunately with limited time to prepare and 2 stand-ins, it's not exactly possible to come in and be the most structured team. And again, they had the best chance of being that team on Ascent. Now they're on Split where NIP wanted to play, and it's a completely different ballgame like we're seeing.
Again, information-wise, they've spotted Zhanji and mid, but this has been a fairly normal occurrence out from the side of NIP. They like to pressure that mid control, make sure Fnatic can't get too aggressive, as we saw from Mystic in the early rounds, and then they fall back into what is basically a default play, and Bezany on the other side is just selling this fake into A. It means there can't be any sort of rotation, but with the smoke down, it would have to be basically a pop straight through it. Now, they don't have the flashes available for that, so they're just going to walk straight in dry, but Fearoth only gets 1.
They know Mystic's on the back of the side as well from that paranoia, so he's going to be taken down immediately. Hyber might want to try to blitz on site, but look who's waiting for him. John's in the corner. Oh, blast pack to try to push him into the nade. That's cheeky. Bezany's being caught on the mid lurk too. This opens up an avenue of approach for Fnatic, at least, still having Magnum online as they move towards the site, but that wall's already being used up. Utility's going to be limited. Snake bite to site doesn't find them. Good spam, but not following through for the kill. And well, John's still alive down below, although he'll be dealt with. Magnum in the 1v1 to try and clutch this out, but it's BNJ again on the other side of that smoke. He's tucked into the right, and Magnum won't catch him. NIP get away with another 5-3. We now sit. This attack side just keeps racking up the rounds.
A little bit earlier on, it definitely seemed like Fnatic had much more of an opportunity in this sort of position. Luckily, you still just have someone like John able to just win these individual fights, and it was only because Magnum actually pulled out 3 kills that one even became particularly close. And now you start to get into real dangerous territory for Fnatic. 5-3 down.